Ever just light a candle and completely lose track of time? Like, it's amazing how such a simple thing can be so mesmerizing.
Right. It's such a mood. Total cozy vibes.
Totally, like a universal symbol of chill or something. But you know what I was thinking about the other day?
What's that?
The fact that someone actually makes those candles. Like, there are actual people out there whose job it is to create those little flames of peace.
That's a really good point. I never really thought about it like that.
Me neither until recently.
Yeah.
So naturally, we had to do a deep dive into what it really takes to be a candle maker.
And I'm guessing it's more involved than just melting some wax. Well,
Way more, according to RoleCatcher, which is our go-to source for all things career-related.
oh, I've heard of them. They're super thorough.
Right. They go way beyond the basic job description. We're talking deep insights into the skills you need, potential salaries, even interview tips.
Wow, that's impressive. So what's the verdict? What does a candle maker actually do all day?
Well, RoleCatcher uses words like crafting, placing the wick, working with molten wax. You can practically smell the creative energy, right?
It does kind of paint a picture, doesn't it?
It totally does. And it made me realize that I had this really simplistic view of candle making. I kind of pictured someone just melting wax in their kitchen.
Me too. I didn't realize there was so much, like, artistry involved.
Exactly. And it's not just about the art, it's about precision, too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Imagine heating the wax to the perfect temperature, carefully pouring it, meticulously centering that wick. Every step requires such a delicate balance.
And you know what else I found interesting? While candle making isn't seeing explosive job growth, the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics projects a steady 3% increase in those jobs over the next decade.
Really? That's good to know.
It is. It shows that there's consistent demand for handmade candles.
Yeah.
People really do appreciate that personal touch.
It's like they're buying a little piece of the maker's passion.
Exactly. But speaking of skills, RoleCatcher also breaks down the specific abilities and knowledge needed for this career path. And get this, some of them totally caught me off guard. We'll dive into those right after a quick message. Okay, so we're back, and I have to say I'm still kind of hung up on this whole skills thing.
Oh, yeah? What about it?
Well, RoleCatcher lists things like social perceptiveness, active listening, even customer service as being super important for candle makers, and honestly, that's not what I pictured at all.
Really? What were you picturing?
I don't know, I guess I just thought it was more of a, solitary craft, like you're in your studios, surrounded by scents and wax, just vibing with the creative process.
Like, totally get where you're coming from. But when you think about it, those social skills are actually make or break for success. Well, to sell your candles, you got to understand what your customer wants.
Right.
Like, what are they drawn to? Is it specific scents, unique designs, or even the story behind your brand? That's where being perceptive comes in. And then actually listening to what they're saying, their preferences, that helps you tailor your approach, build those connections.
Huh. It's like you're a therapist, but for candles.
There you go. You're helping people find that perfect scent to match their mood or, to create that certain atmosphere in their homes.
So it's not just about making a candle, it's about understanding the feeling behind it.
Exactly. And that's where all that knowledge of wax types and all that comes into play. It's not just knowing, like, soy versus beeswax.
Right, right.
It's understanding burn times, scent throw. Do you know about scent throw?
I've heard of it, but I couldn't tell you what it actually means.
It's basically how far candle's fragrance travels, how strong the scent is.
Oh,
So, like, say a customer wants a candle for a big open living room. You probably recommend a soy wax over something like beeswax, which tends to have a more subtle scent.
fascinating. So it's all connected.
Totally. It's like each piece of information you have about a candle becomes part of your sales pitch.
Okay, so no more underestimating the power of wax knowledge.
Definitely not. And speaking of unexpected connections, RoleCatcher also highlighted the importance of networking for candle makers.
Networking, really? Now that's surprising. Who are they networking with? Other candle enthusiasts.
That, and get this, they even mentioned connections with organizations like the International Federation of Thanatologists Associations.
Wait, isn't that something to do with,
Funeral directors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems a little dark for candle making, doesn't it?
On the surface, yeah. But think about it.
Okay.
Funeral homes use a ton of candles, often unscented or very subtly scented ones with long burn times for services.
Oh, wow. I never would have made that connection.
Right. There's a whole niche market there. But anyway, the point is you've got a network, even in unexpected places. But the beauty is The barrier to entry is pretty low. You don't need a formal degree to become a candle maker.
So you're saying I could ditch the podcasting and start pouring wax in my basement? I'm just kidding, mostly. But seriously, where do you even start? RoleCatcher has to have some guidance on that, right? So no fancy degree required. That's good to know. But like, where would you even begin? They have to have some tips for, aspiring candle entrepreneurs,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, definitely. They actually have a whole section on launching a candle business.
No way. What do they say?
Well, they really emphasize building up a good portfolio first, like showing off your unique designs, your scents, that kind of thing.
Right, like your candle resume.
Exactly. It's got to showcase what makes you stand out.
Okay, portfolio check. Then what? How do you actually get your candles in front of people, potential customers?
Well, RoleCatcher, they suggest things like craft fairs, local markets.
Oh, yeah, good idea. Get that face-to-face interaction.
Exactly. It's a chance to, get feedback directly, start building a following.
It's so funny you say that. It reminds me of my friend. She started making these amazing botanical candles a couple years ago.
Oh, wow.
And she started out like super small, selling at these little markets. Now she's shipping her stuff all over. She even teaches workshops now.
Wow, that's awesome.
It's such a cool example of like starting small and then who knows. But of course, it's not all, sunshine and scented candles. RoleCatcher also mentions some of the challenges, like seasonal demand being one.
Oh, for sure. People are probably more likely to buy candles around the holidays.
Exactly. Makes total sense.
So you've really got to be on top of that as a business owner.
It's like more strategic than I would thought.
Totally. It's about finding that sweet spot between being creative and then also having that business sense.
Right. Because we've talked about, how to make candles, the steps involved, and even some of the business side of things. But what about the why? What do you think drives people to candles in the first place?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think it's about like creating a mood.
Totally. It's like they have this power to completely transform a room.
It's that sensory experience,
Yeah.
the scent, the soft light. It can even evoke memories.
Absolutely. It's like adding a little magic to everyday life.
And for candle makers, that's got to be such a cool feeling, right? Knowing you're creating those experiences for people.
Wow. When you put it like that, it really is kind of a powerful thing. This whole deep dive has been so eye-opening. We started with just a simple candle, and look at where we ended up.
It's crazy what you discover when you take the time to learn about something, even something seemingly ordinary.
So true. For anyone listening, maybe this has sparked a little something in you, a little creative flame. Whether it's trying candle making as a hobby or, hey, even starting a business, we say go for it.
Why not?
That's right. This has been The Deep Dive. Until next time, keep those flames burning literally and figuratively.